Time and time again, I read comments and hear stories from people with ME saying that ME needs some kind of rebranding, or some big shift in attitudes needs to happen, or that we need someone else to break this story. But what we don't realize is that we can make all of those things happen ourselves. We don't need to go outside to march. We don't even need to be organized. We just need to be coordinated. I propose that we start an online movement, something akin to the Me Too movement. And perhaps unsurprisingly, I think we should call this movement Recognize ME. Please be mindful that I am using the American spelling there, just because globally that's the spelling that most people would use for it. As awful as the name CFS is, you do have to admit that ME is very easy to turn into a hashtag. And I like this name because it's pretty self-explanatory. We do want and need the world to recognize myalgic encephalomyelitis as a common and devastating disease, but we also need to unhide ourselves and bring our stories and our pain to light. Because recognition is the antidote to the poison of neglect. And if the rest of the world refuses to give us the recognition we deserve fast enough, then we can and must carve out that recognition for ourselves. So, how do you participate in the Recognize ME movement? You can share your story. Please be careful with how much personal information you share online, obviously, but you can share how long you've been ill and how much it's impacted your life, what your day-to-day life looks like. You can share the fact that there's still no treatment for it and that we're all just collectively waiting for medicine to catch up with this massive worldwide problem. You can share anything you like, anything you want to, just make your voice heard. Or you can just share the hashtag if you want. I think it would be a good idea if we could share some candid stories and images if you're comfortable with that, so we can expose the fact that ME is a common and very serious disease to the world. We can do our rebranding ourselves. Or if you are someone who has a different but similarly ignored complex chronic illness, you can also join in. I would really encourage that. Please share information and your story because although the focus of this movement is on ME, we don't want any diseases to be left behind. That's the whole point of this movement. And even if you don't have a chronic illness yourself, if you know someone that does have ME or long COVID, then with their permission, you could share their story. Or if you just want to help us, then you too can demand that the world recognizes ME. Who can participate in this movement? Like I just explained, anyone can. And where will this movement take place? Anywhere online, on Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, wherever you want it to. Just keep it up. We definitely have the numbers to make a stand, so just keep posting and sharing posts on whatever social media you use. This is extremely important to mention, however. What we will not be doing is harassing anyone online. That is not what this is about. This is about taking a stand and raising awareness, not dragging people down. This is about rising above cruelty. Similarly, I know we have a lot of collective pain to share and talk about and bring into focus, but with that in mind, please don't be overly pessimistic about the future if you can. And by that, I mean, please try to avoid saying things like, no one will pay attention to us, or we'll have to wait decades for a cure, because you don't know that. Please try not to dash the hopes of any of our fellow patients. I understand very well that abandoning hope takes the bite out of despair, but before you post anything, please just think about how it could make a patient who is already having a bad day feel. Let's try to avoid being defeatist or cynical with this movement. And if being hopeful is too difficult, then we can always just settle on being neutral. The best case scenario of this movement is that it becomes popular, it gets us attention, and then people trace its origins back to these videos, and then the whole medical scandal gets exposed. Because you can't tell me that the media won't want to report on this if they find out about it. I know they haven't always been on our side in the past, but this is the biggest medical scandal of the 21st century. It's as big as roughly 50% of long COVID was preventable, so people are going to want to write about it. Like, if you're a journalist and you're watching this, you're welcome. I've just handed you the scoop of the century on a silver platter. Like, why aren't I? If you're not typing now, just like start typing. And even if the best case scenario doesn't happen, even if this doesn't make the story break, then this movement will still raise awareness and hopefully make people feel less alone. This entire scandal is dripping in irony, but perhaps one of the most ironic things about it is the fact that we have all been made to feel so alone, when in reality, there are so many of us. If we can unite under one movement, then we can create a sense of community and camaraderie, and that might really help some people. And if these videos can be shared, then maybe some people will find them helpful and be able to use the information in them to free themselves from self blame. So even the worst case scenario is still a good scenario. And finally, when does this movement start? It already has. It started the moment I uploaded these videos. So, heed my virtual call to arms and join me in my online crusade. It will take a lot of effort and dedication, but I believe that we can make the world recognize ME. Together, we can and will create a world in which no illness is overlooked and in which no one is abandoned by medicine. Let's use the power of the internet to step out of the shadow and drag the ugly history of ME into the light. You just know that there are some people, probably in some high up places, who are sitting in their fancy offices and who are sweating fucking bullets right now because they know, and we know, that this story is going to break. For far too long, we patients have been labelled as deluded for believing we are sick. But the truth that we will scream from virtual rooftops is that it is the people who don't believe we are sick who are deluded, not us. They have been deluded all along. We know the truth, and our truth is so powerful that it will be fucking rapturous when this story breaks. It will change the world forever, and we get to decide how it changes. And no one can take our truth away from us because we feel it in our very bodies. We feel we are sick because we are. 100 people can deny that, or 1,000, or 1,000,000, but it will never change the truth. Other people's ignorance can never bend this reality. And now, after all this time, we together demand to be heard. We will share our truth. Of this I am sure. Future generations will look back at the scandal with profound shame and disgust. This is an ugly, dark stain on the history of medicine. It's just that the ink drop hasn't hit the page yet, but it will. It's there, dancing at the tip of the metaphorical pen, and it's ready to fall. Let's finally make it fall and step into our brighter future together. Hi, I just wanted to say that if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this. You're a real trooper for making it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for your attention. It really means more to me than I can ever put into words. But still, there is so much more that I would like to talk about. If anyone is interested, I really want to make a whole other video specifically about the National Institute of Health's response to the pandemic and how, frankly, how badly they really fucked up. So if anyone would like something like that, maybe just let me know if you're able to. I have a lot of anger, if you couldn't tell. And finally, this video would never exist without the hard work and dedication of countless ME patients and advocates that have come before me. So, sincerely, thank you to my fellow patients. You give me the strength to carry on, and we're in this together. Please go and read Valerie Elliott Smith's blog or read or listen to Whitney Dafoe's blog if you're able to. And I would really, really recommend watching the documentary, The Tangled Story of ME/CFS, if you're able to. Okay, thank you. Please look after yourself. Bye.